Hi, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey guys, we've loved answering all of your questions so far. If you'd like to hear your question on the podcast, please send them to us on Instagram at Wheel Talk Podcast or by email to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks.
Boom.
Ow, now, brown gal.
We're live.
We are.
Well, hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. How is thou?
Thou is tired of glazing.
Dude, for reals.
Well, I was glazing a bunch over the weekend, and then I just got back from Baker Hunt. We were doing a throw-a-thon for Clay Alliance. So every year, if nobody knows, I'm the treasurer board member of Clay Alliance, which is the local clay guild here in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, kind of tri-state area. So every year we do a fundraiser called Empty Bowls. There's empty bowls all around the country. Yeah. I'm sure you've heard of it. And they do, a lot of different ways to throw bowls, or people just donate them. So the last few years we've been doing throw-a-thons, where we just get a community of us together, whether they're Clay Alliance members or not. And then we threw 200 bowls, I think about a week and a half ago. And so we spent an evening for about 4 hours throwing bowls, and then getting them on boards, and then the next day we trimmed them, and then tonight we came back and glazed them. So it's kind of like you sign up for different spots based on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I've kind of helped on all 3 of the days so far. But yeah, actually glazing wasn't that bad. I feel we got there 5 and we got done by 7:15, and we had 200 bowls.
Well,
so.
when you don't care, it's a lot easier.
That's true.
You're just we're gonna single dip these.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think any of us just did one color.
Oh, that's good.
So, and I was pretty systematic with it, with writing on
I can't
pots
imagine.
and doing I would usually do 6 at a time and try to get a variety. But I think a lot of people look at the the glaze matrix on the wall and see which ones look good, and there's probably a lot of overlap with each of us because we're not hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, but it's okay.
So, but it was fun. Yeah, so I got back home and I actually unloaded I unloaded the rest of a kiln. I unloaded one yesterday. And 2 kilns worth. I need to replace my elements in the one.
Ooh.
So I'm kind of dreading that. I've basically been just firing in the other one. I did a bisque fire in the L&Ls because you can see the elements are what? They're 45 degrees on their side.
Yeah.
So we'll replace that probably next week, maybe.
I have my thermocouples on mine are just really sad, and I usually have all the thermocouples I need to replace it whenever they blow, but I don't right now, and so I'm just hoping that nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, mine on the L&L are completely contained inside the porcelain tube. So I can't really see how the thermocouple life looks like, but I'll replace them along with the elements anyways. But yeah, not looking forward to that. I've basically just been picking and choosing when I use that kiln just to be safe.
Yeah.
I would feel worse losing a whole kiln load or having it go out when I desperately need it to.
Yeah.
Or need it. So I'm just using the other one for the time being. And the other one gets up and down quicker anyways.
Right.
It's a 7-hour firing versus 10 or 11 hours. So that's 7 cubic foot versus 10 cubic foot.
Yeah. I always do a 10-hour firing basically for glaze regardless, because I always do a 1-hour preheat and a slow firing. So it's usually about 10 hours. And with
Yeah.
those
I've been doing
stupid
that like
cone
medium
arts,
firing kind of.
I actually love cone art kilns, but they take for fucking ever to cool down because they're 3-inch insulation or like 4-inch brick. Like it's ridiculous how insulated they are.
It's that thick.
They're so thick. They're like this thick.
Wow. And then the lid is like even.
Yeah.
It seems like the lid is very
The
thick.
lid is hefty. Like it's just a
Yeah.
fucking hefty kiln, which is great.
Is it a different material too, or is it still
No,
like that
it's still
soft brick, but
fire
it's like
brick.
compact?
And like on the big ones, it's metal. There's metal on the top of the
Oh,
lid.
that'd be a nice lid to dry your pots on, dry your
Yeah.
greenware on.
Yeah.
I try to utilize that as much as possible. Like if I got some oil bottles, especially if I got some that I just finished carving or whatever in the studio, I'm like, all right, kilns are firing the last couple days. Like, let's get some bottles in there. Let's dry them out.
I don't really use it unless I'm doing big things. Like if I have big bowls and stuff, it's nice to dry them out. But everything else, I've never had anything blow up. So,
Yeah.
but the big bowls, they will if they're too wet, you know, and I don't fire them
Right.
correctly. But yeah.
Yeah. And then I know your car is having some issues. I'm taking mine to get the AC looked at tomorrow. We took it at the end of last week, and I needed it the next day for my show.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, yeah, we can look at it. And then they basically just refilled the refrigerant, which is kind of what I was doing anyways, on my own. But they'll look at it tomorrow and see. Hopefully it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's going on with you? I know your car's
I'm stressed. I am stressed.
on the fritz. I don't know if on the fritz is enough to...
Okay, so I was driving to work, or like the studio. I was driving to the studio 2 days ago? 2 days ago. And literally, my fucking dashboard lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. It was the ABS...
Your dashboard inside the car?
Like, no, all the little lights. So, at
Oh.
temp oil
Oh.
light, ABS brake light, uphill climb light, and traction control light all came on.
Holy shit.
And I was like, what the fuck? And, and so it was driving fine. So I carefully drove to work.
Sensors going all whack?
Yeah, so I carefully went to work, and then I asked RJ, our manager, and he did a little dad check for me. And then I called or texted a friend whose partner has works at Subaru. I have a Subaru Forester, 2014 Subaru Forester, and he was like, that's not good. He's like, basically, it could be anywhere from something minor to your transmission is completely fucked. And so,
do like those basic AutoZone battery check like things give you any information?
I think it would give you
Like,
a
is it
little
useful
bit,
to get that?
but it's better to just do a full diagnostic on it so they don't miss anything. From what
Right.
I hear.
Not that you're gonna like go to AutoZone and they're gonna be like, it's all good.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like,
So
here's
the
something to
lights-
soften the blow of what to expect.
Yeah, and they
when
did
you
go away. They just went away. Like, if I hadn't seen it, I don't know if I would have ever known anything was wrong, you know? So I took it to Subaru yesterday. Thankfully, the dealership is 2 miles from my apartment. So dropped
Oh,
it
that's
off
good.
in the morning, walked home, had a good 2-mile
2-mile walk. Wow.
home.
They didn't have any fucking Lime scooters anywhere?
I mean, they did, and I thought about it, but I was like, I mean, it's a good little walk.
Y'all got a lot of potholes. I don't know. You want to drop a scooter in a pothole
Yeah.
and get fucked up on the way
Yeah,
home.
and it was mostly sidewalk, which was nice. You know, there was some just street walking, but it was fine. It was a road I go on every day. So
Yeah.
anyway, they call me back, and it's the valve body that's in the transmission. He explained it to me. I wasn't totally
Ooh. I
understanding.
mean, anything transmission related is...
Yeah,
not
and he was
cheap.
like, the cost is gonna be like $1,900 and something dollars, and I'm like, ugh,
Just say 2,000, dude.
I know. I'm like,
Jeez.
shit. So Rebecca dropped me off, picked it up. I can still drive it. It's like fine to drive, but like if I drive it a ton, it'll get worse, you know. And I'm supposed to go to Memphis tomorrow night because Teresa, my best friend from college, her baby is turning 1 on the 2nd. And so, I wonder if you can hear Babs in the litter box. Anyway.
I can't.
Okay. Her baby's turning 1, and it's like, they don't have any family down there or anything. I'm like the closest thing to family they have in the proximity. And so I was like, bad news. Can't come down. So they want me to come down so bad. They actually are paying for a rental car. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I can't fucking afford a rental car. I have to pay $2,000 to fix my fucking car. And so I have to see, I'm going to look and see if my friend has friends that would fix it for cheaper. But yeah, I was just like, oof. I petitioned with Subaru. I called them today and was like, hey, is there any way you can like help out? Because he told me to try that. And,
there's not any like recalls or anything like that.
no. And the warranty that I have, they extended my warranty when I got my front end replaced because of an oil consumption issue. And it was to 100,000 miles or 2023. And when they extended the warranty, I was at 90,000 miles. So, like...
So that was going to cover you for... What? Wait, when did you get it fixed? I mean, 10,000 is pretty standard for a year of driving.
Oh, not for me.
I think typical average driving is like 12,000, but with people working from home a lot more nowadays, it's probably less than 12,000 a year.
Well, as you can imagine, that's not my average. My car's at 143,000 miles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're driving all the way across the country.
All the time.
And then you're driving to Kansas.
Yeah.
And
so, yeah, and so he was like, no go, we can't help you out, blah, 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 but I'll give you a ticket if you want to buy a new car. You can save $800. Like, fucking thanks. So the issue, I guess, is that, like, I haven't made a lot of money this week and last week. I haven't made any money this week. And I'm, like, stressing out over it, and my emergency fund is literally $1,975. Like, that's all I have.
Yeah, and you're not going credit card with it, it sounds like.
No. I mean, I'll probably pay with my credit card and then just pay it off immediately. But, yeah, I'm just like... So I've got to put something out on the interwebs and be like, help Becca fix her car, buy some pots, So...
Car fund.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to be, like, desperate or anything, but I'm kind of fucking desperate. Like, I can find the money. I know I can find the money, and it's not going to be an issue, but it's just, like, really stressful, and, like, I'm going to buy a van next year, so it's like, why should I put $2,000 into a fucking car that I'm not even going to have for, like, another year,
Were you planning to keep the car?
I was planning on keeping the car, but if it's going to have this many issues with it, I'm going to fucking sell it.
I mean, is this the first time you've had issues that significant on it?
No. This car has been just a bundle of issues.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I've put a lot of money into this car, which is fine. It's paid off and it's fine, but it's just annoying that it keeps kind of like, I mean, it was a brand new car. I bought it brand new.
Oh, really?
And it's still got, like, all of these weird fucking things that happen to it. And I don't know if it's just because I'm rough on things, which is true, or if it's, like, just the car. Like, I've got some
I always
weird
wonder how much
lemon.
beatings, like, cars can take with, like, neglecting certain things.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not
that
like...
if you get the standard, like, oil change... I mean, I'm not getting 3,000-mile oil changes. I'm getting, like, 5,000 or 6,000-mile oil changes.
Well, it's synthetic.
But, like,
you're not even supposed to get them for 7,000.
Like, how rough can you be on it? And, like...
Well, and
the whole replacing fluids and getting tune-ups every now and then and alignments, like, I get it.
Yeah.
But... Like,
and, like, I'm up to date on everything. Like, we've done the 100,000 mile check. We've done all the things. Like, I'm pretty solid on my car maintenance.
Like brakes.
I do my own oil.
Tires and all that shit.
Like, yeah, everything is up to snuff. I got brand new brakes in December. I got brand new tires. Like, I'm not like a 20-year-old college student that doesn't take care of their car, but it's just
Yeah.
it's just frustrating when it's just like, meh.
I think that's just gonna happen with the amount of miles you're putting on it too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's at almost 150,000 miles. Like,
Yeah.
at 2014,
I mean,
150,000.
how many miles are you driving from Indy all the way across the country and back?
A lot. Like, I think it's like
3,000
one way.
2,000. Yeah, I mean that would be a situation where you would probably want to. I would think you would probably want to like change your oil, not right when you get back, but like closer to like 3,000 or 4,000
Oh, yeah,
miles
for
versus because you're putting so much
Yeah.
wear and tear on it in such a short amount
Yeah,
of time.
and remember, like, when we were at Claycon West, I was like, fuck, I need to get my oil changed, and I got it changed in California, and, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just been a fucking thing, and, yeah. I'm just, like, in my head trying to figure out how the financing is gonna go and, like, all the things, so.
Yeah.
Which,
Can you pick up some short-term work with Rebecca for a short period
I
of
don't
time, or
know.
you just don't want to go there?
I don't know. I think it would be easier just to beg on the interwebs. I mean, like, not beg, but, like, be like, hey, buy some pots. Like,
Yeah.
or like, get the earrings up so that people would buy them,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, you'll start. Are you taking or are you going to your show tomorrow? Or you're leaving after your show tomorrow?
The farmer's market?
Your farmer's market?
Yeah, I'm going to the farmer's market. I can't not go.
Yeah. Are you taking some of the earrings with you?
I think I might.
You might as well. I mean, what's the risk?
Yeah.
I don't know, take 15 pair.
Yeah.
Just to see what happens.
I feel like I'm not really prepared yet, but I think it'll be fine.
I mean, you could at least get some feedback because you've never shown them to anybody one-on-one, right?
Yeah, I know.
Like, to get honest customer feedback about them.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've got to like pack up my car. I'm actually taking my old pottery wheel down to Memphis and storing it at Teresa and Brandon's house so that Paige can learn how to do pottery. So I've got to like clean it now and get it into the rental car in like a trash bag so that it doesn't just like completely throw up clay everywhere. So
you don't have a tarp or something? Like a cheap tarp?
No. I do have moving blankets though.
Oh, that'd be good.
I'll do that. That's a good thought.
Or just regular old blankets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be good.
Good thought.
Yeah. That reminds me, I need to take some things to Louisville this weekend, so.
Yeah. The last time I got a rental car, I've almost gotten a ticket. I've gotten a ticket or almost gotten a ticket every time I've gotten a rental car. So the last time I had to pick up like chemicals for Josh and like take them.
Oh,
and I
like
was
raw
like,
materials.
Please put this huge giant tarp down because this is a black car. Like it's a black interior.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's
I mean, we've had some random house shit, like our fucking garbage disposal. It was already on the fritz, but like now it just won't, like the water just won't even go down in that side.
Is it backed
or
up?
If it
Have
does,
you
it, like,
opened it up?
It like trickles. So it was already pretty terrible, and we accidentally threw something in there a few months ago, like those little kind of like plexiglass measuring cups for like making cocktails. One of them accidentally fell in there and it got ground up. There's probably bits in there, but it was already pretty crappy. So I just bought another one.
Replace it.
Because I got it upstairs. I need to replace it, but we replaced one at the old house. So it's
easy.
Pretty easy to replace, but it's like I just need to dedicate a couple hours because it is hardwired. So
I ground up some glass piece. I don't know what it was. I must be like a shot glass or something that I didn't know existed. It completely killed my disposal.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been the main main thing around here. And then Rachel's headlights out because she's got like a little broken area in
Yeah.
the fiberglass part or whatever. So we just ordered a new one off eBay.
Oh my
and
God.
I got to install that. I've replaced the bulb in it twice over the last like 2 years. And she's like, it broke again. Like, she's like, I'm not going to do this again. So I got to replace her headlights.
When I pulled up into Subaru, the guy like walks out, super nice guy, and he's like, well, do you know your passenger side taillight's out? And I was like, nope. He's like, well, let's turn on all the lights and figure out which ones are out. And he's like, well, that one's out, 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 and that one's out. There was like 7 lights that were out.
Are you talking about exterior lights?
Yeah.
What?
Like my headlights.
7 lights? How are you even driving with 7
They were
lights
like
out?
minor lights. Like my headlights were still on, and it was like one brake light, one tail during the daylight, and then because I turn my lights on all the time, and he was like, "Would you like us to replace those for like $130?" And I was like, "You know what? Just do it. I don't fucking care." Like, I can't even remember which ones were out. Yeah, but I mean, those lights are expensive. Like, just my headlights are $45.
What?
Yeah. For 2 of them, but still, they're expensive.
Are you buying them from the dealership?
No, I buy them from. They're like some special, like, halogen light or some shit like that.
Oh, okay. Actually, I kind of do remember those are.
They're expensive.
Yeah, those aren't just standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rachel's gotten hers at AutoZone. They're just like the regular standard ones. They're like, I don't know, $10, $12 or something. But yeah. I mean, it's doable to change them yourself. It's just not easy because like the front headlights, you got to like unclip the bumper and like make sure that you can get to it, and it's a little
like the front headlights I could do with my eyes closed. Honestly, the backs I don't know exactly how,
because you have to pull the things back, the like coverings in the back of the car to like get to it and stuff to pop it out.
I don't know if I think I have changed the back ones on the Subaru or not, but like on my old car you had to like unscrew it from the outside and like pull it out. Crazy.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. I mean, if they're gonna replace all of them and pay for the bulbs and stuff for $130, that's probably not that bad.
I was
honestly.
like, the cost of the bulbs was probably just $100. Like if I bought them, you know. So yeah, I was like, just fuck.
Yeah, some of that stuff is not too bad. It's just like, don't let the things pile up is kind of where I'm at. Like, you know, this is a problem. It's like, we have to have a sink. So like, if we do the dishes, the sink water will back up into the sink. So like, taking care of the garbage disposal is like, get that done in the next few days. Don't let that sit for like 2 weeks, because then Rachel's going to be on my ass about it. And it's going to make me want to do it less.
Yeah, I got to get this car fixed like ASAP. Because... Ugh. But...
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, it's been 20 minutes. Hearing our woes.
Hey, that shit happens when you've got other shit going on. It's like, I can't focus on that, or I got to focus on this stuff, but like all these other things just creep up randomly.
I know.
Like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, so if anybody needs a shitty cup, now would be the time to buy it. Even when this is out.
Shitty cup, spoon rest, earrings.
Yeah, there's a lot of spoon rests
coming at you.
Yeah, earrings are coming at you. Took pictures with Sarah today, and they look really, really great.
Nice. Yeah, I saw.
We
some
even
of
got
those.
one with Pip, her dog, trying to eat one of the earrings. Yeah, funny. Anyway, okay, what are we talking about today?
All right, we just passed our 3-year mark.
Yes.
So I think this is going to be kind of like a reminiscing episode, sort of you know, where we've seen the podcast evolve, and maybe some enjoying parts that we had, and then some like differences of what we kind of didn't expect or have evolved over time, and just kind of see where it goes. I think
Maybe
so.
where we want
did
it to go.
We did a 2-year review. I'm trying to see. 2 years of Wheel Talk was episode 106. So that was the last one we did.
And what episode are we on? We should be on 160 something. This will be 164.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that tracks.
We're getting
that tracks
closer
with
and closer
the weeks.
to. Yep. That's right. We're getting closer and closer to 200.
Yeah.
200.
Crazy.
We're not doing a 200 review, right? We're not doing a best
No.
of the last two. We did the best of 100, and it was literally the first, 16 episodes.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that again. That was horrible. That was the worst. That was the worst.
Unless somebody out there wants to deal with this and edit
project of
and
my
find
life.
snippets.
No, they can't even do it because I lost all the episodes. Remember, I've lost them. The hard drive broke.
Which ones did you lose?
Like 1
Everything?
through 70.
No, I meant episode 100 to 200 is what I meant.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know which ones
No.
I lost.
There's so much content. It's I don't really want people. We started, back when we were doing that episode, we knew it was coming. Mm-hmm. So I was being pretty diligent about going back to parts that I remember and jotting down timestamps and saying we need to cut out this timestamp and that timestamp.
Oh my God, it was terrible.
And that timestamp. And then we were piecing it together, and it was, Becca was piecing it together, and it was a nightmare.
It was so bad.
I don't know how much you did before I saw you doing it.
I did a lot before you saw me doing it.
But just that time is you need to cut it here. You need to cut it here. And then I'm I can kind of intuitively list, because I know kind of what I was looking for,
Yeah.
Where to cut it.
That was at the burrito show.
Yeah. And, that was a lot of
It
work.
was a lot of work. And I was trying to be a team player and be yeah, we can do this. And then we got one down. I'm I'm not fucking doing that again.
It was part 1, which was episode 1 through 50. And part 2, 3, 4 are never coming out ever again.
Ever again.
You got to listen to all the content.
We are not that ambitious. No.
No. Do your best. Ask me about a topic, and then I might be able to tell you an episode number and give you some guidance.
Right.
Or just tell you a short answer.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go back and listen for 2 hours to find a 5-minute answer that you wanted.
Yeah.
But.
Well, Ryan, in the last 3 years, what do you think has been your favorite episode? I think it'll probably have a interviewer in it.
Well, I had separate ones for interviews.
He did homework.
Favorite interviewee or interviewees. I would say I don't know. When you say favorite, it's kind of I think of sort of some of the moments that stood out.
Oh, that's good. We could do that.
And I was kind of thinking I remember 37 was a good one with the kiln venting talk.
Oh yeah.
And you were I think you need a new kiln. And then I was trying to legitimize
and I
my
was yelling
point.
at you.
And you were you need to get a new kiln. Stop being cheap. Well, if you just want to half-ass it, then just do it.
That'll always be
that
a
one.
tops.
Yes. And I would say that one, or I mean it depends on what I'm looking at. There's plenty of interview ones, so I'll save that one for a separate question. But that's one that stood out that I do remember. And it was early on,
Yeah, it was early on.
Do you have one that stood out or a part of one that you remember?
I don't think that I have a part of any of them because, as we know, my memory is shit. But what I would say is my favorite episodes are the Q&A episodes. Those ones I fucking love. Yeah, just the fun, the ones where we just kind of bullshit, I like those episodes. I mean, you know that. Everybody knows that. If it's not structured, I love it. But I do have some favorite. I would say that my favorite moment was in an interview episode, and that was when I asked if Jesus made the pond.
With Josh. It was like you were so just like not even sarcastic about it.
No. Yeah, I was so confused because I didn't know if it was like a man-made pond or a naturally made pond, and I didn't know how to like verbalize my question. I was
That
like,
was episode 43, Talking Glazes with Josh
and I was
Hine.
like, did Jesus make the pond?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I could find it in here, and then I wonder if I could play it. I found it.
It's way far in there.
No. I did timestamps with him.
Oh. I don't
Oh, maybe.
know if you'll be able to
Maybe
hear
not
it
though.
because it's going to come through your headphones.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So
Okay. Y'all will just have to check it out. It's in the back half of the episode 43. Or you can listen to episode 100 because it definitely is on that episode.
Oh, it's definitely on that one, yeah.
Those are, I mean, the collection of stuff in that episode is just
Good.
so great.
I find it interesting that over the like last year, probably maybe year and a half, we've been a lot less structured, which I've liked, but you know, like at the very beginning when we started doing the podcast, it was like, what do you want to talk about? And like we'd kind of like think about it and there'd be like specific topics, and now we get most of our information from like listener questions or just like a thought that we had just randomly. And like, you know, we decided that we were going to do a recap 5 minutes before we started this episode.
Started recording.
Yeah.
We're more on the fly these days.
Yeah, like
And I think that's just it's kind of like I almost feel sometimes it's like kind of irresponsible to just do it on the fly, but it's also like I hope it's entertaining enough.
Yeah.
Cuz I feel like the closer we're getting to the current time, we're getting more into like people listen for entertainment versus the education.
Right.
Where we might have started it for the education, and we were more planned with the topics because we actually, at least I was making a list of like topic ideas.
Right, I was
and,
too.
You know, we haven't talked about ways to sell at art shows, so let's talk about that. And I'm trying to like, you know, keep it where we're not talking about the exact same thing that we've made an entire episode about before.
I feel like we like
And-
ran out of topics, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, not ran out, but I mean, there's always stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe doing something a little more focused these days is harder because I feel like we've talked about a lot of topics already. Not that we would have the exact same perspective on something that we talked about 2 years ago
No.
about a topic, because, I mean, we've definitely evolved in how we would feel about certain things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Over time as our businesses have grown, and then we just get more experience in certain areas, or we don't really have much experience in some area and maybe we get a little bit, or we talk to other people that have expertise and then we're kind of like pulling from their perspectives on that, which I think is what's beneficial for like interviewing people, is we get to ask them about topics that we are not experts
absolutely.
in. Not that I feel like I'm super expert in many topics besides like selling and art shows, honestly. Or like organizing systems to keep my studio flow good. Like that's what I feel like I'm the most skilled to talk about.
I think so.
And you know, that's where like some of the questions that we get that are more sciencey, like I'm more likely to stray away from those because I'm like, that's what the For Flux's Sake podcast like focuses on, and I feel like we're doing a disservice by like talking about a topic that we don't know a ton about.
Yeah, or we're not like as well versed. Like we don't have like masters of ceramics in that particular like topic.
Yeah. I mean, I know other people like have questions about that are kind of in similar situations where they're like home potters, or they just are curious and they want to hear our take on it. But it's like, you almost don't want to just do a podcast that's entertaining about that, because it's actually like impactful to know the real like answers for that stuff. Where it's like, I'd rather let others talk about that.
Right. Let me like guide you to this podcast that actually speaks on it in a way that makes sense to the humans. Yeah. I definitely definitely feel like we've done an okay job at. I'm proud of us for when we don't know things, we're like, I don't fucking know. Like.
Yeah. And if it's like a business question too, we could be like, I haven't, this is how I would approach that situation. Not having like done the situation 2 and 3 times in the past.
Yeah.
Where it's, this is how I would go through it. And then maybe I would ask this person or that person to help me get a more, a different perspective on it that maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I pretty much always ask you a lot of
technical stuff
times, just in general, like, hey, what do you think about this? Or is this doable? Or what am I missing here? Or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think you kind of need, if anything, I think that's kind of what we've helped tell people to do. Like, hey, find people that are out there that have a different experience that you could bounce ideas off of, or like learn from together, kind of, where you're kind of growing together, not necessarily where they're like out of reach, where you're hoping that they can like share their knowledge with you, like maybe not like a mentor necessarily, but maybe they're just like a peer, that you can. And you don't have to be in the same space. Like, maybe you don't talk to another like slipcaster if I'm a slipcaster about something. Maybe it's just like you appreciate their business advice, or their home studio setup or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can ask them.
And we personally have like created that space with a group of our friends who we mention on the podcast frequently. Like Josh and Rebecca and Isaac and
a lot,
like Andrew
a lot of folks that
Linderman
we've talked to on the podcast. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the scope of who we want to interview most, because we already have a rapport with them and have some ideas of what expertise they bring to the table.
Also, we need to interview Andrew because he went on that artist residency.
Yeah. California for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time.
And then he just moved. We need like a moving studio update.
Yeah, I want to hear about the residency and like what you should do with that stuff, because like who knows what you're supposed to fucking do with the residency. Like,
is it more for like growth artistically, or is it more about just getting in a different space for your business so that you're not stuck in doing the same thing?
He's definitely to chase Andrew, you've
chase
definitely
money.
Improved. Like, I can see the growth.
Yeah. I think not having, it's probably definitely good to have those breaks, whether it's like taking vacations or just completely doing something different, kind of like forcing yourself to do something different, whether it's for the intention is for like fun, or if it's just like, I know this is not going to be good for my business for like a month or two because I'm paying to be there. But maybe it's, beneficial. Like, what am I going to take away from it? Am I going to get more monetary value and like fulfillment personally to do this thing that's different for a month or two? Where I think it's cool that like Adam Field, I think he was having a couple different folks that would like come and shadow him for like 2 or 3 weeks. I think that's kind of cool too, where you can actually get in somebody's personal studio.
Yeah.
And you pay to be there instead of like, hey, I'm here to do work for you and you pay me.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm actually investing in myself to be here, to learn something. And, what benefit does that bring me? As well as like not technical skills that you're gaining, but also just like mental changes, and then, how you approach your business or what you care about more.
Yeah.
What about kind of where we started? Like, where was your business at when we started in 2019, August of 2019
Oh my God.
versus now? Like, do you remember what you were doing in 2019?
In 2019, I was, um, let's see. In 2019, I had the shop. I had Five Lines Pottery, the studio, and
Where were you at in there? Did you just get in there in 2018, 2019,
I
or?
moved. No, I had been there a year and some change. So I moved into the studio December 2017.
Yeah.
And I had just, let's see, the paint your own pottery was like getting bigger at that time. And I was doing like, if I remember correctly, I'm like looking back to see dates. Okay, that's October 30th. If I remember correctly, I was selling tons of mugs online and like pots and stuff online.
Through what? Just through your
Just
own
through the
website,
website
or?
and doing drops of like hundreds of like cups.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Unique mugs?
Yeah, and like
I don't remember your heavy online like that. You were doing like updates and stuff with the stickers and all that.
yeah, maybe it was in oh no, that was in May of 2020. I lied to you.
Okay, I was gonna say I remember you doing the like unique cups and tumblers. I kind of remember the mugs too. Now that you say
I
that,
was
they were all different though.
Okay, here we are. August of 2019. August 24th, 2019, I posted one of my favorite mugs of all time. I was at Leavenworth pretty much the whole summer. I remember that was like the time where yeah, look, this is the coming soon post. We're going to start a podcast.
Show it on the.
It just says coming soon.
Oh wow, what is it? What does the caption say?
It says, "Hey all, me and Ryan are working super hard on the podcast, Wheel Talk Podcast, and we will have our first episode out super soon. Keep a lookout for a trailer coming most likely tonight. Follow us at the linked account to keep tabs on us."
Were there any comments in there?
My wholesaler was like, "You're a badass." And yeah, that was the only one. It was one of my wholesalers.
Wow, that was in August.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
That was in August, yeah. And
Wow.
I was like posting like mugs and stuff and just selling mugs online, and
Leavenworth was just about wrapped up at that time of year. I'm guessing August,
September, October. It would be 2 more months.
September, October.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that means that like somebody was watching my shop. I was probably stressed to the max. I think during that time I also had my flash bowl sale, the one that was like 200 bowls that like put me behind for like a year. And then I think I had switched clay by that time. But yeah, like I was quietly depressed and making like $70,000 a year and earning zero money. And I was out of debt by that time, but not really. Where were you in 2019 of
I
August?
was looking back at my income and my goals and stuff. I can't believe we started Pot Swap in 2018. I thought it was
Oh my
2019.
God, Pot Swap is
2018.
coming up. We have to do that.
This is the 5th year.
Fuck.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This is the 5th year. Can you believe it's been that long?
No.
You're like, can it be the 5th and final year? We had a good run. 5 years. I'm fucking out. So many people love it. Like makes my heart warm every time I see Pot Swap and everybody enjoying it so much.
But it sucks so much.
based on where we started with Pot Swap, like we have grown much more since then.
What was our
in
first pot swap?
processes.
Was 100 people, and last year we had 850,
800 or 720,
720
I think.
or some shit like that. And people were like, I didn't get in.
You had to sign up within like a 24-hour span, 36-hour span.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I was looking back at my 2019. Yeah, I was mainly, man, I was setting a show expectations, selling at 10 shows. I sold at 24 that year. Killing it with the shows and getting into some new consignment shops. And I was not selling online much at all. It looks like I sold only $3,000 worth online in that year. So I was hitting the shows heavy. I was kind of getting my stride. I had been, that would have been my third year of selling. Started in 2016. So 16, 17, 18, fourth year. Technically 4 years, I guess. But yeah, I feel like I was hitting my stride with shows. I can't believe I've been selling at shows for that long.
Can I pause really quick?
Yeah.
This is not in August, but on May 28th in 2019, I got Lloyd and Floyd.
May of 2019? 2018.
Wow, that
Okay.
means he's 4 years old. Almost. No, 3.
Yeah.
3. Okay. Never mind. Continue. Okay. Sales.
3 years old. Yeah, so I was looking at the sales for the year. So it looks like I sold about $30,000 that year.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember, like, I wish I could go back and just think of like a typical week at that time. And like,
Typical week was
I
the
was spread.
exact fucking same as you do now. You have not changed in
was it? Is it
3
more?
years.
Is it more in a week now though?
Okay, you've gotten better. You've gotten faster, for sure. And your studio's gotten bigger, so you've been able to like house more things.
Yeah. 2019 was the first year I was having assistants too. It looks like, or one of the first years.
Yeah.
So I wasn't having them over that much. It looks like I'm getting close to about 100 hours for the whole year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've definitely had to get way more help since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 100 hours. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I've always been spread thin. We were probably pretty deep into having a home studio. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what sparked us. Like, we were probably just spending a lot of studio time doing the dual casts and spending a lot more time sharing lives.
You know what? We have not like told how we met in a long time, and maybe that should be part of like part of this episode, because like Deanna was like, how did you even meet Ryan? Because 2019 we actually met for the first time in 2018. 2019 started the podcast, so keep in mind that like we had only met once in person before we started the podcast, right? Maybe twice.
Yeah. When did we meet in 2018? Because I went to NCCA in Pittsburgh in 2018, but you were not there. I don't think.
In Minneapolis,
you went to
was
NCCA
2018.
2019. I was just looking at 2019 goals, and it was on there.
Okay, so anyway, we met for the first time in 2019.
March of 2019.
Yeah. So this was like 6 months after that.
Yeah, and we'd probably known each other since 2018, at least.
We knew each other
since 2018, probably
since like 2016.
Really?
Yeah, because I started doing Instagram. I'm scrolling down while I'm not looking. But, okay. So anyway, me and Ryan met through Instagram. He quite literally slid into my DMs. No, he didn't. I would have lives all the time, right? Live videos. And I would make all these pinch pots that I was making in my basement.
Yeah.
And I would just set my camera up and we'd chat. I would chat verbally and he would chat on through his text, which always was like, what are you even doing? Like, how are you even replying while you're like chatting?
I don't think I was throwing. If it was 2016, 2017, I was likely not making a lot myself.
Yeah.
Like, that was before, because Rachel and I got married in 2015, and then we moved into an apartment in 2016 outside of Louisville, and I didn't even have a studio until 2017, I think.
Okay.
Until we got a house. So I was probably spending a lot of time at the apartment, like downtime, watching lives. And that's probably what sparked me doing a lot of engagement. Because I wasn't making in the studio while you were making in the studio.
It was 2017 for sure. So in February 2017, I got those 2 little kittens that then ended up being given away. Yeah, I was making those. Man, it had to have been like late 2016, early 2017.
I just feel like it wasn't 2016 because that was the first year I would start selling.
We did it. We started it when Instagram started doing lives.
Okay. Is that what you're Googling? I'm going to guess they started mid-2017.
November 2016.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about dual lives, though? When did they start dual lives?
Well, we didn't do dual lives for years.
I know, but when did they start them? I feel like we started doing them shortly after they added
November 21st, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, we've known each other for a long time, like via the interwebs. And then Ryan was like, hey, do you want to do a trade? And I was like, sure. And he still has the mug that I traded him. Do I still have the piece that he gave me? Probably not.
I thought you were about to say, and he still owes me a piece.
No. I'm pretty positive. I don't know where the piece that you gave me is. I might still have it.
Was it like a tea bowl or something?
Oh, you know what? I do have it. It's a little cup. Did I break it?
A little cup.
It's like just a little. It's a nice little cup, teacup. But yeah, I sent him a cup. It's completely not vitrified. It's just like ugly brown.
It sits on my. It's in my cubby shelves.
Yep, it's in his cubby shelves
in the kitchen.
And yeah.
So we traded. And then we just kept chatting, doing the lives, and probably just like engaging with posts and stuff like that.
Yep. And at that time, I had way more followers than Ryan. I just want everybody to know this. I had 3,000 followers in 2017, and Ryan had like 1,500. And then he was like, I'm going to be really good at pottery and Instagram, and then fucking skyrocketed past me. But it took him, I had got to like 4,000, but I like stalled out at like 4K. And then he like skyrocketed past me. And then we met at Nsika for the first time and hung out with Rachel. And then after that, we were like, we've been doing all these lives together for such a long time. We should just do a fucking podcast. And so we did.
And so we did.
And now you're listening to it in probably the most boring episode of the year.
It looks like I'll give you some context. Starting in 2018, I was at 2,000 followers.
Yeah, see? 2,000 followers. And I hit 3,000 followers on March 20th, 2017. So.
That was back when everybody thought they had to do a giveaway every time they hit a milestone.
That is true. Did I do a giveaway? No.
Not you. Not you.
Oh, good Lord. All these sets. That plate's cool. Oh, my stuff was so bad back then. Um,
I don't even remember what I was making back then. Like, I was probably I was making stuff that was, good enough to make sure I could feel confident going to shops and saying, "Hey, I've got this
yeah.
stuff." Um, I'd love to partner and do consignment, or I wasn't even getting into wholesale at that point. I don't think wholesale was kind of in my repertoire yet. I wasn't consistent enough in my work, but I was confident enough to be like, "Hey, can I loan you this stuff and you give me, 60% when
When
it
it
sells?"
sells.
Um, if it sells. Um, Man, I can't believe there. And there's some. I was just doing some of my inventory kind of
Mm-hmm.
things with one of my shops, um, Micah 12th and Vine, that's in Cincinnati, and they have literally never. They still, over time, I've been like, "Hey, can I take some of those older pieces back?" And they're like, "No, we'll keep them here." And like they sell them every now and then. It takes a long time, but there's there's one lone piece that is still in the shop that I gave them in 2017, and I'm like, it's like $16. I'm like, sell this thing or give it to me so I could smash it or something. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, how many pieces of mine do they have? Like, what would I get if I literally was like, hey, we're done with this partnership. Give me all my work back. Like, I would have like 200
Oh
pieces,
my goodness.
and it would just be like a timeline of the oldest pieces. Like, they literally have pieces from 2017, 2018. And I'm like, oh my
I know.
gosh.
I have friends that have pieces of mine, and I like look in their cupboard, and I'm like, that piece should be dead. Like that cup should be dead in the water right now.
Yes.
Oof. Man, you have posted a lot here. Where am I at? Oh my god, you post way too much. Holy shit.
I was posting like 5 days a week.
Jeez, fuck.
What were you doing? Were you
Yes,
scrolling
I'm
all the way
scrolling
back?
all the way back. I want to see what kind of pieces you were making in 2016.
Oh my gosh. I've posted almost 1,900 times.
My internet should be better than this. Um, what do you think? What do you think is like the most memorable piece that you've made in the last like 3 years or since we kind of like started being friends?
Individual piece of
Yeah,
work?
for you.
Hmm.
It could just be a story or
I
whatever.
mean, man, it's hard to remember individual pieces, but I would say definitely some of the sgraffito work.
Mm-hmm.
Once I started getting certain colors like dialed in,
Yeah.
where it's like I don't even feel that way about the mugs necessarily right now, because the mugs are mugs. I don't know. I feel better about the oil bottles, for instance.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing the speckled clay with the black slip and then the white glaze.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just the right trifecta, and it's got the faceted feet on it. Like that is like something that goes off the shelf almost immediately when I have it at a show or I have it online. I think that validation from customers like helps me feel more proud of it too.
Yeah.
I'm somebody that definitely has to get that feedback of, hey, somebody else is enjoying this. Like they're validating that it's really as good as I think it
Right.
is. Because I'm really proud of it, but the only way that I keep going forward is if other people think it's good and they're willing to buy it. Hopefully at the price that I'm setting, and they don't complain about it and they're like, this is amazing. Like I have to have this. You know, I think that like Venn diagram of me making something that I enjoy and like putting the right amount of attention and detail to it to being something that a customer sees and they're like, that is unique. I
Yeah.
want that. And then I don't know what the third part of the Venn diagram is, but the price, I don't know. the price that I'm setting based on the work that I put in and the value that I set to it. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh my gosh, I'm like scrolling back. I'm in July of 2017. Your colors and your glazing has gotten so much better. Like, wow, wow, wow.
Can you show me something from
No,
then?
not yet. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one to show.
That's just a. What about the mug though? The mug body? The mug body's not
No, the
terrible.
bug
The
body's not
handles.
terrible, but the glazing is horrid.
It's also choosing what to share
And
and
you
what
had
not to
so
share as
much
well.
chattering stuff back in the day. Remember, you would chatter almost everything.
Yeah, I would chatter a lot. I still like the chattering look some. I just don't do it anymore.
Oh, there's a Marbs picture.
Yeah, little Marbs.
Little Marbs.
I remember the feet of some of those pieces back in the day were so like wide.
Yep.
And I was doing slip back then. I think that was a picture with
Yep,
slip
you're
on it.
doing a lot of slip.
And I haven't done slip in a long time.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Your display has basically stayed the same through all the years.
Yeah, I've simplified it. I think.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I always mention my display, and you're like, no, you don't need to change your display. Your display
I
works.
agree. I still agree with that. I agree with what I said. I like
Like, I'm never gonna go the pro panel route. Like, I think that's just too much. And then I'm not gonna go the like heavy duty, like boxes and pedestal kind of things, because that's just not my vibe.
like uh, you make $6,000 at some shows. Like, why the fuck would you change what you're doing? Like, it works. Like, I make $300 at shows. I need to change what I'm doing.
I don't think I've actually seen you at a show besides the backyard show. I just wonder what your vibe is when you're like selling.
My vibe is I'm in pain. I'm smiling. Nice to see you.
I'm in pain.
Nice to see you. And then when they leave, I frown.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm pretty good at shows. I'm not terrible. I could be better for sure. But definitely. June 10th, 2015, still doing the glaze drips like with the
The glass.
glass.
That's how old it is, man. That is still doing it.
probably the same fucking kiln.
I don't. It's not the same kiln. That is not the same
I
kiln.
feel like
That was a free kiln that I got after college.
the transition of my pieces from the very beginning to now, or not even till now, but like I feel like my peak moment was probably 2020 when I was selling all those pieces online, like the different glaze combinations, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
You just mean the pieces that you were most proud of, or your peak selling, like how much you were
peak
selling?
selling, but peak like quality, I would say. Peak quality for sure. As far as like
Why was the quality higher at that
Glazes.
point?
the glazes were better. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, like, my glazes are fine now, but I'm just doing, like, single dips. I'm not really caring about, doing double dips and, like, dripping and stuff.
And was it better because you had just used them so much that you know how to layer them and how to get certain
Yeah,
effects?
and there's, like, nice blues, nice greens, nice browns. Like, yes, fuck yeah. Like, iridescent. Like, I had so many color combinations that there was, and, like, the pinky red that I had, like, the June Perry red. And it was just, like, they were just, like, I had honed in on glazing, The mug body, simple, fine, whatever. But I'd honed in on glazing, and then I left.
How do you think that if you got back to that glazing, let's just say you jump back into that with the clay body you had, like, do you think the glazing would be as impactful on the clay body that you use now with the speckles, or
oh yeah, they would be so fucking good.
I mean, some of the glazes on my speckle clay just, to me, look more interesting than even just a simple black glaze.
I know.
With like those little specks like coming through. It's so like good. It's like a little surprise.
Yeah. I hated speckled clay for the longest time because I felt like it was so kitschy. It's like all like.
But your speckled clay is different though. It's not like a tan speckled like mine.
No, because it's just it's Iceman with speckles.
But I feel like you don't see a ton of white.
Yeah.
With specks.
Maybe.
White clay with specks.
Well, you do if it's like a straight-sided white pot, glazed white,
Well, yeah, because the glaze is white, but the clay body.
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, I do feel like that was, like, my peak. That was my peak for, like, how proud I was and, like, how excited I was pulling pots out of kilns and stuff. But...
What if you had those glaze combos on your shitty cups now?
Sell them like fucking rock stars. I wouldn't be able to keep them on the shelves, man.
What's stopping you from getting to that
Well,
point?
I have a lot of full
buckets. Do you
have
have an interest?
Yeah, once these glazes go, I will start to replace them with the old glazes, absolutely.
And that's because you got them from Rebecca?
Yeah.
So you're on zero
expense, yeah.
Or low expense? Zero expense?
Zero. Yeah, I didn't pay her for them. They were all like mystery glazes. And the only glaze that I've paid for is the white one that I just replaced.
Are there any good combos with them? What if you just layered, like, comboed them?
There's like one good combo that I've seen, but the other, they don't run on top of each other really well. So they're kind of choppy.
That's all right. I mean, if they're stable, what if you completely dipped two of them?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to give you more work. I'm just saying, would you find a gem in there?
Maybe.
That would not be able to sit on the shelf.
Maybe. We'll see. But, yeah, I just like think about like the very beginning of my work and like what I wanted it to be and the shapes and like the way that everything was, and now like it's completely different, and like how much we both have grown in the last like 6 years, just as far as because we met in 2017, so 5 years, right? Yeah, just like the amount that we've both grown is just like so crazy. I was just talking to another friend about this too. Like she sells jewelry, and you remember when I had to do that show for 10 days out in the cold on Christmas Eve? Like 10 days in the cold, and it was me and Twyla, my friend Twyla, and like I met her at that show. We were booth mates, and we had to share this tiny ass booth, and neither of us knew what she's doing, and now she's like making $50,000 in a month and doing like kicking ass. And like I was talking to her the other day about how we've both grown so much, how we didn't know anything back then,
Do you think you kind of have to go through those individual experiences that like, or do you think there's like moments that like accelerate you, or is it, I don't know. I'm trying to like, I can't think of individual moments. I think it's just like a snowball. It just builds on itself, and you like change the bar of what you can achieve, and you just keep pushing that bar further and further.
I think for you it's that.
For me it's that, yeah.
For me it's like, oh shit, we gotta do this now. For me it's like almost always been survival, and that's like the difference between you and me. I think specifically is that it's always been like, how do I find money, as versus you has always been like, yeah, money, like let's get it,
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I guess I'm in a spot that I can risk the options for like strategizing what works and what doesn't, but I feel like I don't take that big of risks.
I don't think you do.
That really are like big strategy
I think that
movements
I take
that
more
like
risks than you.
really
I
define
think
it.
that I take more risks than you, and the reason is because something isn't working, and I'm like, I gotta get, like, something has to fucking work, you know?
Yeah. And I would say I probably kind of double down on what
Yeah.
works. Like shows, when I know shows are working, I like get excited about it, and it like fuels me to want to apply for more
Right.
shows and like come back to the same show the next year and do better than I did last year. You like look back at my stats from the previous year and see what sold there. Like, okay, mugs killed it last year, so I need to bring some
Yeah.
mugs. But like those people that come back, they've already got a mug, so like maybe I want to bring some other items that can catch their eye. So I don't know. I was thinking back to that, like, are the moments like building, are the different shows you do that are shitty, or
Yeah.
you know, what is pushing your work forward as well as your business forward? Like, are they building blocks that, a few blocks fall out, so you need to put other ones in there to like support it and like go with things that work, and that helps you take more chances when you can? Or is it like, I don't know, I don't even know where my thoughts going here, but Lloyd, or is it completely personality, where it's like some people are just go with it,
Yeah.
and you're living it like weeks at a time? I don't feel like I'm living like months at a time, but I'm like planning out my year sort of with shows.
Yeah.
And then I just work harder or slower based on what I need to do.
Yeah. I feel like the last, like, 6 years for me, 8 years, 10 years, whatever, for me have totally been like up, down, up, all the way down, up, all the way up, down, 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 down. like
What makes it go down?
I think it's just like life stuff, like me moving out here. As far as like,
Oh, you don't mean the business goes down. You just mean you're like the emotional
no, I
part
think the business
is what
I
you're
think
talking
the
about,
business,
ups and
like,
downs.
well, it dropped off when I came here, obviously, because I didn't do anything. But then it's just like, you have, like when the store was happening, it was like, it's great during Christmas, and then it's like shit during January, and then it's, you're just like up and up, down and down and up and up and down and down and up. You're just like trying to like have some sort of steady thing, and now that I like kind of look back at it where I am now, I'm like, ugh. You always say, like, had I known. Like, I don't know if I would have gone through all that had I known, but then I wouldn't be where I am now. So it's like, you kind of have to go through all that, which really sucks. And I hate that you, like, have to go through, like, the shitty part to get to the part where you're like, now I know what the fuck I'm doing.
But how enjoyable would it be if it was always just kind of like even keeled, and you always strayed maybe like 5% off that even keel at a time? Would that be more enjoyable than having the average is still in the middle, but it's because you have really high
Really
highs
low
and
lows?
really low lows, so that they average in the middle?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had even keel, so I can't answer that question.
Yeah. Or it's like, what incentivizes you? Like, the really high highs would be, or like a really high bump would be like a really good show, or like really good restock. And then it's kind of like tapering as like the month goes on, as that money gets spent. And then you're like,
gotta go again.
It's dipping down, where it's like, okay, I didn't, make enough to keep it back above.
Yeah.
I don't know. I sometimes wonder, like, what would be different if I had, let's say, quit my job like a year ago or 2 years ago. Like, where would I be realistically if I didn't have my full-time job?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I probably would have been fine, but would I?
You would have been fine.
I think I worry too much about the risk of the like mental shift.
Yeah.
Like, I think that worry that when I do jump ship from the full-time job, I'm not really going to enjoy the pottery as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that looming kind of feeling is what keeps me in the comfort zone. Even though it's like super stressful. It's like, it's
Are
still
you stressed though? Like, are you, what stresses you about it?
about doing
No, no,
full-time.
no, no, no. Like, are you stressed now, like doing full-time work and then pottery? Does that stress you out, or is it just like normal for you now?
I'm, I would say I'm more stressed about the having so many commitments that it takes time away from things that I want to be doing, which is I really love just spending 3 hours in the studio
Yeah.
making. To whether it's getting prepared, because I don't want to be in a situation where, let's say a wholesaler reaches out to me and they're like, "Hey, can I get this order for, this $400 order?" I would like to be able to fulfill that and not have to say, "No, I can't
Yeah.
handle that." I would like to be in a position where I'm stocked up enough for shows. I've got enough. I'm feeling less worried about online nowadays because I think the scarcity online can help drive people to have interest in
Yeah.
it, because I've gone through the enough restocks and spending time photographing that's like, do I have to do that as hard as I've done in the past? And I've just learned to like pull it back a little
Yeah.
bit, like maybe restock 15 pieces instead of like 35. Like,
Yeah.
people aren't going to be rushing to get it, so don't kill yourself. I don't know. I think the commitments, it's a lot of commitments that take time away from studio time. But if I didn't have some of those, I mean, obviously some of them are like relationship related. Like, I have to do things for my wife in the house, and I have to care about things that keep our house in a good state, and keep my car driving with AC, and like things that she needs me for and I need to do and have some kind of like importance in my life, that I can't just do that. Like, I'm not on my own here, like running the business and finances, and like if everything was solo and it was just me, I could make those decisions
Right.
to like disregard the house things, or put off doing this or doing
Yeah.
that. But like, what would that do to the relationship if I were to not have those? I say commitments, but like that is something that takes time. It is a commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, so, and then like I've taken some steps. Like, I've scaled back teaching at
Yeah.
Baker Hunt. Like that was a big commitment
Yeah.
drop. That now I only commit to 3 days every 8 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Like that's a big difference. I mean, that's 6 hours every 8 weeks versus 3 hours every week for 8
Yeah.
weeks. Like, that's a lot. So the money wasn't a big enough incentive for me. Plus, I don't mind like freeing up, like let other people teach if they want to teach. It just didn't. I didn't enjoy it as much. So I don't know. And then like Clay Alliance stuff, but I feel like I've got myself in there, and I'm invested so much to the organization that I don't know. I can't step back from
Yeah.
it. Like, I can draw boundaries about how much time, but it's more personal boundaries of like, how much time do I want to
Right.
invest? I know I could drown hours into this, but who's going to notice, for one? Am I going to get like, not recognition, but like, that's also with the notice. Like, do people appreciate it, or am I doing this to like fulfill my own wants of getting something done to like better the organization? So I think some of those are the give and take
Yeah.
of the studio time is what's gonna lose out there. But and then like doing a ton of shows takes time away from making, but doing the shows helps fund me to want to make. I mean, the only other things I could cut out would be like consignment shops. Like I could cut down that significantly, and that would probably be less work that would be out that I get 60% of.
Yeah.
And that would leave me enough work that I could sell at shows.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the next
Step.
That would be the next step.
Yeah.
Maybe that I could play around with the numbers. Because I've only ever like taken myself out of maybe like 2 shops before, maybe 3. But yeah, I mean, some of that's like I don't mind as long as it's low effort, low maintenance. But yeah, I feel like I've always diversified. I probably don't have to, because sometimes if you focus on like 2 or 3 things really well, it's more beneficial, and you're gonna I don't want to just focus on the money, but you're gonna be more efficient at those 2 or 3 things really well than spreading yourself to like 6 different things that make you money, and you just like half-ass 5 things or 6 things. So I don't know. Did you feel like you had to Speaking of diversifying, like, did you feel like you were in different ponds a little bit?
When?
Back in, I don't know, 2019, like, did that shift over time for you with where you wanted to make your money?
Like when I started the shop, I thought that I was going to make most of my money from teaching classes. And then I quickly found out that that was not what I wanted the money to be from, just because like I don't mind teaching. It was a lot though mentally for me, and it was when I started teaching classes, I had never taught classes before, and so there was a big learning curve, huge learning curve, and by the end of it I was like, I don't fucking care what you guys do. Like I was like so burned out on like, you know, obviously there were some people that came through and you're like, yes, you are the perfect student. But like a lot of people, you're like, you know what? If you don't want to listen, fine. I'm not going to help you. Like,
yeah, I think the amount of relationship building you have to do with classes, besides just like knowing what the hell you're talking about, is like the amount of, that's going to have a lot of highs and lows too.
And I think that
because you're just dealing with extra humans and perspectives,
and I think that if I was doing it now, like if I taught a class now, it'd be fucking cake for me, you know,
because you'd set expectations,
because
or
I just know how to do it. The
students,
you know, and I care a little bit more, you know. But so I was doing the classes right, and then I was like, man, I'd really like to make money doing wholesale and production. And then the paint your own pottery kind of popped off, and I was doing like 4 different jobs as one human, and it was really fucking hard, you know. And like I didn't have time to do anything. I would go home, I mean, like we've talked about my schedule, but like, you know, I would be like glazing until like 3 a.m. like walk over to 7-Eleven and get a fucking Red Bull at 2 in the morning so that I could stay up, you know, just so that I could fucking like glaze 100 pieces and then load the kilns. I was like, the fact that I was firing probably once a day, 2 kilns a day, you know, flipping them, like when I would unload them, I'd load it back up, like absolutely ridiculous. like
mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I just, you know, it's weird because you're like free to do whatever you want, but you're like trapped at the same time. It's like it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like the Truman Show, where you're like, you feel like you're good, but you can't actually leave. So I think that definitely it's like pulling you, and like you completely disregard your like health, and like Like I was
Yeah.
telling, my brother lived in Alaska for the entire time that I lived in Washington. It costs $100 to fly to Alaska from Washington. Maybe. I
Mm-hmm.
never once went to Alaska. And I'm like, why? Like, why? Why didn't I just go?
Did you always put it like, I'll go in 6 months or I'll go next
Yeah, it
year?
was just like, oh, I'll go eventually, you know? And like, why didn't I just like take a weekend, you know, and just go? And,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that, yeah, definitely you just kind of like put off everything that, and
Yeah.
so now I'm like on the flip side where I'm just like, now I take way too much time to myself and I'm not working enough. But like, but, yeah, definitely. It definitely spreads you pretty thin. So, and that's the fear.
How is your body physically holding up during that period versus now?
Oh, I'm so much healthier now. Not even like I was eating the same types of food, except for the Red Bull. I was eating the same types of food. I've always ate pretty healthy.
So you were always making your own food and all
Yeah,
that.
like I would pretty much make most of my own food because I had a little kitchen closet in the back, and
Right.
you know, but I think like I was so stressed and so tired that I was so sore all the time that I just couldn't. I was in pain all the time, you know, and I didn't know how much pain I was in until I came here, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Because you basically had a reset of not
Yeah,
working for a
yeah, and
period
like
of
just
what, 2 or 3
yeah,
months, or
and like
was it?
no, I worked for I didn't work for like a week or something, but even working for Rebecca and like the stress literally leaving my body and all that stuff just
But over time you were able to like leave at the end of a day
yeah,
and not have to work for basically 12 hours
exactly.
or 16
And
hours
like
or
it's
whatever.
just like my whole body just I mean now, yeah, I like, you know, wake up, but like I wake up in the morning and I'm awake now. It's taken almost 2 years to get to that though. Like to wake up and be like, I didn't have to wake up with an alarm. That's great. And as opposed to like waking up and being like, holy shit, my whole body hurts. Like, I don't even want to get up.
Let's do it
Yeah.
again today.
And like my ankle, it's been flaring up a little bit now just because of the humidity in the air. But my ankle was like always in pain when I was, you know, in Washington. And there was no help. There was no helping it. So yeah, and I mean, like, there's been a few things that I've cut out of my diet that, like, I would drink a lot of those like whey protein shakes, and I thought that they were like helping me. They were destroying me because I'm intolerant to whey, and
Mm-hmm.
so, and I found that out here, and I've never been like a big bread eater or anything like that, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like the hours just kill you and um yeah, but I do miss the people, you know, like I'm kind of like growing that here at the 201s.
The
Yeah,
individuals, or like the just on consistent interaction with people in
yeah, you
general.
know, like when Bridget and Andrew would call and be like, hey, we're getting pho, and everybody would come over to my house and we'd walk over to the Mexican grocery store and get squirt like to drink, you know, and like we'd all eat pho at the table and like yeah, I miss that like community that we had, you know. But I'm kind of like getting that here. It's just, you know, that
You have to
yeah.
work harder for
I
that,
I
right?
recently was talking to somebody who was like, I can't be it was somebody I was considering dating. He was like, I can't be in a relationship because I like need to focus on my job and my work and all that stuff. And I was like, hey, I've been in that situation where I thought that I needed to focus on my job and my work, and he's like, well, now looking back, do you think you could have done it? And I was like, absolutely. Like the people in my life
Could have
like
done
could
it.
have had
Could
like
have
a
done what?
relationship of some sort, you know?
Oh,
Like
I
back
gotcha.
when I was like working 90 hours, and I was like, absolutely. Like I still had a relationship with my best friend, with Bridget, like with, you know, all these people, and I still maintained those friendships, and they were the only things that actually kept me alive, you know? So,
Yeah. Sometimes you think those are like time sucks, or like you just look at them on the whole and you're like, this is a distraction from bigger things that I could be doing, but you don't realize the like
yeah.
benefit. Even if it's like little spurts of benefit throughout a day or throughout a week and then a year, it's like doing this
Yeah.
once a week for literally 3 years is like, it's not a distraction anymore.
No, it's not a distraction. It's,
It might have been a distraction at some points
yeah.
where it's like, oh, I wish I had 2 more hours in the studio, but it's like, no,
This
this
is
is
essential to our friendship. Like, this,
yeah, for like you and I, as well as I'm dedicating time away
Yeah.
from the studio to just talk at length about
Yeah.
something, as well as actually thinking about topics that maybe I don't think
right.
about.
And I think,
Because I feel like I'm very like, I think about a lot of heavy things, like listening to podcasts or whatever, and I'm like, I kind of want to talk about these things, but like if I got in a real situation with somebody, like I wouldn't want to talk about certain
Right.
things because I'm like, I don't know them well enough to know that they're not going to like hate me for something about some perspective on a certain thing. Like I can't be
candid,
just honest.
yeah. And I mean, like, we have a lot of conversation before and after we record, you know, that's when all the
Yeah.
tea gets spilled. But but like, yeah, no, I think especially, honestly, mostly for you, it's been beneficial just because you work at home, you're a workaholic in your studio. I mean, like, I was like that too, and I definitely needed that, but I've always had like this core group of small town friends that I saw every day, and you don't
Yes.
see that, you know, so it's really helpful for you
Yeah.
to have that like time, and I've seen that over time.
Yeah. And I mean, I mostly have like acquaintances. I don't have a lot of deep friendships with people. So, you know, having something consistent
Yeah, has been good.
is like good. It's probably good for the business too. I hate to always relate back to the business, but like it's probably good for the business as well as not like probably my body, like not straining my body for another 2 hours in the studio. It's
Instead,
probably,
just
I mean,
having
I'm
really
still
bad
sitting
posture.
down for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's probably been the most beneficial thing about the podcast. And you know, I know that like a ton of people are always like, "Oh, I've learned so much from like the podcast," and they like, we get so many great reviews, and I don't know if people realize that it's not, we're not doing this for for other people. We're,
I mean, I want to make sure it's educational as
Yes,
well as entertaining.
yes.
I don't have to force the entertainment. I know that through the educational and keeping it on track to a
Yeah.
point, that the entertainment will come
Right,
naturally.
but what I'm saying is like, it's not for every, first priority is it's for us, and second priority it's for people. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if we cared about the educational part more, we would edit the podcasts.
Make
we
it
would
a job.
narrow them
Yeah.
down. We would cut out the fluff
Yeah.
parts, and the episodes would be down to like an hour and 15 minutes instead
Right.
of 2 hours. But it's like, hey, you know, what are we doing this for?
Yeah,
Are we doing
we're
this
doing it
for
for
us? Yeah, like I don't. Becca doesn't even want to listen to the podcast after. It's like she'll barely listen to it. Period.
Yeah,
So
I listen to the
she probably doesn't listen to it past when we talk, and she's like, I don't even know what we talked about. What did we talk
I
about?
listen to the first like 3 minutes and the last 2 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
Unless I need to cut something out like weirdly. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's gonna, like, 10 years down the road, somebody's gonna dig up these podcasts and be like, they said this in this podcast.
We're going to get so hardcore canceled. We already have. We've got so many people that have blocked us for stupid reasons we don't even know about.
I don't feel like I'm very blockable. I feel like I'm very family
You
friendly.
are very family friendly, but just because you're associated with me, you get blocked.
I mean, I'm sure there's perspectives that some people would not like,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's certain things that I don't like. I'm not here to talk about X, Y, and
Yeah.
Z. Like, my expertise is in pottery and business and like things I care about. Like, why do I want to talk about politics
Right.
or other things that like like I don't understand why some people share that kind of stuff. It's like, are you sharing it for yourself? Are you sharing it for the
Right.
reaction? Are you sharing it to educate? Like, some of those topics, I'm like, I don't like intentionally stay away because it's controversial. It's just like, what do you hope to
Well,
get
yeah.
out of
Yeah.
sharing about certain things? Are you hoping to get out of it, or are you just posting because you want
Yeah.
to and you just feel strongly about it? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, we never really talk about that on here, but like, there are things that I just stay away from posting because, like,
It's your
honestly, I don't want to deal with the random comments from strangers where it's like they're going to affect my day and
yeah.
my mood for something that I didn't even really have that big of a like thing in,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think that I would say, I mean, obviously both of us are very privileged individuals. Um on the flip side, we provide a podcast about a particular topic, and I think that it has been a success in the sense that we have stayed to that topic. Um, you know, uh, we're very true to like a pottery podcast, and it's something that you can always count on not having the shitty like news splurted in your face, and
Yeah.
like you can count on the fact that if you listen to an episode, it won't be about all the things that you're hearing every day in the world. It's gonna be about fucking Kaylin. Like,
Yeah, or it's going to be more of like an
yeah.
escape, or
And I think that that's,
it's not going to be
yeah, I
something
think
that
that
you
is
stumble upon that's going to be like, "Oh, well, this put me in a
right.
bad mood."
Yeah.
Or I was trying to get away from thinking about this thing that's
Yeah,
everywhere
and I
else.
think that that is just as important as spreading information about particular subjects. Having an escape is just as important as the opposite. So,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
All right, question.
Ready?
Who was
Oh, who's our favorite interviewer?
favorite
Interviewees.
interviewees?
Hands down for me, it's got to be Aletha.
Aletha?
Aletha was one of my fucking favorites.
I thought you were going to say either Heidi or
they're
Aletha.
both
I
up
wasn't
there.
sure which
Both
one.
up there.
Her fucking McDonald's headset.
Oh my
like
God, yes.
Most people did not see that because they did not watch the YouTube, but there was
Aletha
probably a
looked like she
screenshot
was
of it.
straight out of a drive-through McDonald's. Like, she had the microphone like sticking out. It was glorious. It was glorious. Yeah, definitely that has to be my favorite episode of all time. Is Aletha for sure, and then Heidi might be
Aletha.
second. And
We need to have more. And the thing is, I never actually talked to Aletha before that. Like, we just had this
Yeah.
internet relationship. Like, you and I. It was like a you and
Yeah.
I relationship over time where you don't talk one-on-one. Well, like, we've never done, like, a dual cast
Yeah.
with Aletha or anything. So, like, I've never actually talked to her, but I know enough
right.
of her personality just from following her that it's like, this is going to be a good time.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh God, that was so good, so good. And then Heidi, just because Heidi is maybe one of my most favorite humans of all time, and her voice and the way she speaks might just be my favorite. Like, that's what makes me love her the most, and that's why I loved the Boldly podcast so much when she did it, is because she's a very slow and methodical talker, and a lot of people don't really understand that, and that is literally what makes her a gem. It's just like the way she pauses. I can't get over it. She's so
Oh,
wonderful.
man. I was trying to download an old Boldly. Like, those archives are gone.
No. Oh.
Like, they're not a thing anymore. They're not. The hosting went away or
That's
something.
a
I don't know.
bummer. Okay.
Because I was trying to listen to an old one and
That was a
yeah. It was
Good.
gone. I was on it back in the day, a long time ago.
Did they interview you?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
it was a long time
Huh.
ago. I was on that one. I was on Clay is a four-letter word in person with
I was on
Ryan
Clay's a four-letter word
in
with
California.
Ryan.
I did a small business one with Chandler Lyles that's down in Nashville. I did Maker's Playbook. We did not Boldly. We did Potter's Cast together. Yeah. And probably one other one maybe, but
Okay,
yeah.
who was your favorite interviewee?
All right, I couldn't do
That's
just
fine.
one.
I did too.
All right, we'll do two. All right, so I think the first one, I'm not even gonna say Leanne. I was gonna say Leanne, but I'm not gonna say Leanne.
That was a good one.
That was good. I'm gonna say Tara and Matt.
That was great.
I think just the and I need to listen back to it, but there were a few moments in there where it's like you're on this like emotional roller coaster a little bit when you're talking about like family expectations and moving across country and like doing it together and like your business progression and stuff like that. Like I'm thinking about it right now, and it's like those moments I think are what set those apart for me with those discussions.
I do feel
like us having access to people in that in that comfortability that we can share that
I do
together.
feel
I think that's part what makes it special.
And
for me.
after that interview, I felt like we had such like a connection to them. I felt so much more comfortable like commenting, you know. And like I'll be like, Matt, what are you doing? You're sharing stories. What the fuck? Like, you know, like I can like jab him a little bit, you know. Yeah, I agree. Okay, what was your second?
And then my other one was Chris Birch.
Oh, Chris's was good.
Yeah, and it goes to a similar thing, like the emotional parts, and like, you know, he was appreciative of us, and like just listening to his story just puts you on this, you know, perspective of, you know, seeing why somebody does what they do, and they're just so connected with the customers and these students, and just seeing somebody really that has that kind of mentality with, you know, the people that they engage with is like, and just the human part of it too, of just how he carries himself and how he interacts with people. Like, and I listened to this when he was on the Potter's Cast, but like, I think like being present with people and actually trying to, I don't remember what like leaving. I want to say like leaving it better than you came or something, but like wanting to have this moment with somebody, so that you've got this appreciation for who they are to you, and just like letting them know that, I think is really like special to hear that from somebody.
You're such a sucker. No, I agree. Those were really good.
And those were Tara and Matt was number 52, episode 52, and then Chris Birch was number 116.
Yeah, Aletha and Heidi have been more recently. Well, Aletha was recently, and then Heidi was probably like down a ways.
Oh, I can share the number. Aletha was 147. Man, coming up with these titles for these episodes are tough. Heidi Fehrenbacher. 91 with Heidi Fehrenbacher. Things to be happy about.
Yeah. Okay. 91. Well, these were also a few good ones that we should mention, because I was like looking at our top episodes of all time. First of all, before we go to that, I was gonna say one of my favorite moments of both of us having a moment together was when we had that dinner with all of the Potters, with Andrew and Rebecca and Josh and Doug
McIndoe,
you and me. That was great.
Was it like that in the moment, or is it retrospecting on it because it was right before the pandemic?
I think it was in the
that it made
moment.
it more special for you?
It could have been any
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our top episodes of all time, ironically, and I guess, Motivation as a Maker is our very first episode, and it's
I think it's just because people go back to the first
obviously.
episode and they just
And it's-
start, which sounds like a horrible spot for them to start, but
and it's 2024 downloads. Isaac, you are still winning.
Isaac,
108
episode 108.
is that
That was on my top
Isaac's
episodes
was a
too.
great episode,
He
too.
was
that was 1,811 downloads that we've had. Don't Waste Your Talents with Chris Birch, that's 116, 1723, and then Amy's was really good too. Amy Brummond with Pines End Pottery, Hand Building and Rainbows. And that was 1640, and then Plagiarism versus Inspiration was 1570. So, Amy
I think
Brummond's,
that was just a play on words that got people.
yeah,
engaged
Amy
with that one.
Brummond's is 119, and then Plagiarism is 98. So those are our top 5.
People obviously like the ones where we interview
Obviously.
people, or they just share it with their audience, and that's why
Yeah.
we get more. But see, I would have thought like Leanne's or Kurt's would be.
I think
one of
it
the top
still
ones,
is.
but
I'm looking at the all episodes if it'll.
just because they have like some of the biggest audiences, but
Yeah.
that was also pretty early days of the podcast, so you know.
So Liz Cohen is number 6. That's 140, episode 140, and that's 1543.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Liz.
and then Link.
Man, oh my gosh! Did you realize we talked with Aletha for almost 3
I know
hours?
it was the longest podcast.
Oh my god, that's our long. I think that was our longest episode.
Yeah.
2 hours and 57
But
minutes.
we
Holy
had so
shit.
many conversations about like food and shit. Like, how could we not?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Leanne's is at like 1350. Hammerly's is right up there at 1400. So, yeah, Don't Be Like Becca is like number 7.
Was that
Yeah.
show edition? That was great.
Which episode was Aletha's? 140 something?
One 47.
Oh, there it is.
1087 is what it says here.
No, it's at 860 downloads.
This says download. Are you looking over the last X number of days or something?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I like the interviews. I think we've been a little more intentional about it the last few months of like trying to get some people in the works that we can talk to. We do need to be a little bit more prepared for those.
Yeah.
So trying to come up with a few sparking questions to get the conversation rolling. Because I know we've talked about this before, but like I feel like the 0 minute mark to the 1 hour mark is kind of a little bit tougher to get in the groove, and then once you get past that 1 hour, it's like I feel like that's
Like
where
45 minutes to 1
sweet
hour is like something clicks and it just like scoots on from there. Yeah.
the sweet spot of like where you get past all the surface level stuff that maybe is like easy for them to talk about, and then you get into the deeper stuff that you can actually get some like nitty gritty.
And so who are we having? We have a few people that we're interviewing coming up. We have Josh. I don't know when because his schedule like never actually went through. And then Sarah, my studio mate, Sarah Anderson.
Sarah Anderson We got Tim C that we're
Tim
talking to
C
next
we're
week.
talking to next week. Yep. Which I'm so excited for.
Yeah, that one's gonna
He's
be
such
good.
a hoot.
I'm a little nervous because I feel like I don't have enough questions to start with, but I feel like if we get like 2 or 3
Yeah.
topics, we can get the ball
for
rolling.
Sure. And and I'm excited to talk to Sarah too, because she's just kind of like blown up. So it'll be good to hear her perspectives on how she's dealing with, making money on Instagram and stuff. And
yeah, and we got we're talking to Tara and Matt again. They've got some iffy internet connection.
So we're gonna have to figure that out.
Things they're figuring out, but even mention them here. We got to get them back on, right?
to. Maybe we can get them when they like visit a friend or something.
I don't know. I want to have enough time though.
Yeah.
Whatever we do. And them, and I feel like there was somebody else. I did kind of want to talk to Link again in the future. That was one that that was an episode that stuck out to me as one that I personally learned a lot from.
I learned so much from that episode.
Episode 95 with Link Henderson. She's the owner and operator of Kentucky Mudworks and Dirty Girl Pottery Tools, and man, just so much knowledge being dropped there with like the sciencey stuff, as well as her personality is like great for us, like for like what our
finally
podcast is
somebody
about.
who cusses more than I do comes on the podcast. Like, thank fucking goodness.
Yeah, and it's it was like refreshing.
Yeah.
So, and she's like all about sharing the knowledge and the like the money side of it too, of just making the business stuff important.
Yeah, that was great. I did talk to her, by the way, so I texted her and I was like, hey, you got anybody for NCECA? So we'll see.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, she was like, we'll see what's going on, because she doesn't know how the thing's going to work with COVID or anything like that. But hopefully I'll be throwing for Dirty Girls. That'd be great.
Nice. Yeah, they've had the Dirty Girl Pottery Tool booth in the last few years. Instead of like focusing on Kentucky Mudworks, maybe they'll have a Mudworks one because it's actually local. Maybe they'll have both
that's a good
booths,
point,
or
because
like overlap. Because I mean, I feel like it's the perfect market to market their clay, since they don't have to transport it halfway across the country.
Yeah.
Just 2 hours north, and then they're good. Yeah, we got to talk to Link again at some point. And I've reached out to, ironically, well, I don't know if that's the right word there, but I was talking with Heidi back in the day when she was doing Boldly. They were talking to a small business person, CPA person, and I reached out to her, and I think she's going to be on the podcast.
Yay.
I wanted to chat with somebody. I think it might be a good time of year. I'll let her know now. That way she can kind of get, hopefully before tax season starts, so we can get her on, get some time with her and chat about some different things, tax related, and just having that kind of information from somebody in that expertise, I think would be very beneficial. And I think we could ask some good questions to that.
For sure.
And we've wanted to interview somebody talking about financial planning and stuff too, or like advising, which is like a friend of my mom's that she works with, that does like asset management and stuff. That's like, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be relevant anytime, not just when, the economy's killing it and you've got money to spend, but just some things to like know about finances that would help, like investing or retirement, or how to go about it when you don't have a lot of money or a lot of knowledge about some of these topics that may benefit you for the long term. So, yeah, we got plenty in the hopper.
Yes. Plenty.
Yeah, let me see. I feel like I had a couple other questions here. Are there episodes that you refer people to?
No.
That when you get questions, you never refer people to anybody?
Sometimes
episodes?
I refer them to you.
I do all the time. Are there any topics that people ask you about that you're like, we talked
All the
about it on the
time.
podcast? What topics are they?
Everything.
A lot. I feel like I get a lot of art show
and
questions.
I'll like answer like pretty vaguely, and then I'll be like, but also remember we do a podcast. You can, you know, a lot of the times it almost happens more at shows than it does like on the Insta webs, you know, where they'll be like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, you know what? I could explain it to you.
Do they know you did a podcast?
I'm always like, you know what? I could explain it to you now, or I could give you my podcast and then you could just listen there. and so, like, that's...
And it's not like I don't answer it as a way to deflect. I just answer it because I want to give you the most in-depth answer I possibly can. And we literally talked about it for 2 hours.
Like, that's the most you're going to get. Like, I'm not going to give you the same good answer.
Yeah, nobody is going to give you 2 hours one-on-one in person to answer all of your questions.
Agreed.
But you could probably get a lot of your questions answered if you listen to 2 or 3 episodes on your own over the next number of months.
Yeah, so.
And you can go back to it, or you can find other topics that you have interest in. Yeah, I would say the art show, episode 86 and 87. Mm-hmm. Art shows part 1 and part 2, like those are the most asked topics that I refer people to, and those are episode numbers I'll never forget. I always tell people those episode numbers.
You're gonna be like on your deathbed, episode 86 and 87.
Well, we did the story, and I regret even asking that, like the story thing, like give me a topic that we talked about and I'll give you a story that shows you all the numbers that we talked.
You're dumb.
I ended up doing the art show ones, and it was literally like 8 episodes. I had to find 8 different episodes that we talked about. Like, I'm literally scrolling through all the episode titles and like, did we talk about it here? Did we talk about it here? Like, okay, that one's a good one. All right. And then I went through like 4 different slides of topics, and that was it. I was like, I'm tapped out. I can't do like 13 topics. Like, I'm literally going to spend 6 hours documenting this.
So funny.
And how many people are going to get the value out of this.
Hilarious.
So yeah, that's it. Those are the topics that I definitely refer people to a lot. Okay, quick ones. What topics do you enjoy discussing most?
I like business related stuff.
Episodes.
You know, like I love, obviously we both love talking about money, but you know, I like statistical stuff, you know, data, and I don't know. I mean, I like the ones where we don't talk about anything about pottery, personally. But, sometimes...
Like the first 40 minutes of every episode?
Sometimes I'm like, man, you know what? We should just have a fucking podcast of us just hanging out and not talking about anything. Like, just us chilling, you know? But then this is what we do when we don't talk about anything. Is that we talk about what we're talking about right now. So, there we are. Anyway. Yeah, and I don't know if there's like any topics that I enjoy more, but I love when people have like pointed questions, like very specific questions, you know?
Yeah. I always wondered if you liked those when people ask like situational questions where it's like, this is really only gonna cater to like 5 people.
And I needed this
likely
2 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll answer them in DMs or through email, and I'm like, yeah, I don't mind like answering them, but sometimes I'm like, I'll hold this back because it will actually require more discussion than a quick like 1 minute response.
Yeah, I like to email. I like if you ask a question that's timely. I typically am the one that's like, this is the answer that you're probably looking for, you know, and then we put it in the thing, and then we usually end up kind of like talking about it later. But and I like talking about like growth and stuff like that, you know, like how to grow things, how to grow your business, how to be more efficient, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like some of those kind of growth topics are, maybe I'm just perceiving that people think it's like negative to look at some of that stuff through data,
Mm-hmm.
and it's getting into like too much science of this when it should be more
Yeah.
art. But I think there's different ways to approach it where you can still appreciate the forms that you're creating and be very specific about the
Yeah.
work, but also have a brain that is always threaded
Right.
through business,
Yeah.
because that's how my brain
Well,
works.
that's why we're
And
successful doing
I
this
mean,
podcast, because we're not like two like crazy ADHD artists. We're one crazy ADHD like not artist and one not ADHD person at all. Like normal fucking human being that has like a business mind. Like that's why it works, you know?
yeah. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know where I feel like some people have like amazing work, and I wish I still have those lingering things in my head of, I really wish I created work
Oh
that
yeah.
amazing. But it's also like I'm kind of in my lane, and I stay in my lane a little
Mhm.
bit, and I know what my lane is, and I can get better and better within
Yeah.
that and still push myself. It might not be as drastic of changes and these huge changes that some people can make, but I don't know. I feel like I'm more of like I'd rather like change 1% a little
And
at a
that's why
time,
you're successful.
so that over time it's a big change when you look back
Yeah.
a year past,
Mhm.
and like just focusing on perfecting that, not necessarily perfecting, but like being conscious of like and intentional about the decisions you're making in those short
Mhm.
periods, and then that'll like build over time.
Yeah.
um but I don't know, like I don't know if somebody asked me like, how did you get your business to here, it's like I don't know. I mean, I'm just disciplined, I
Well,
guess.
yeah,
Like,
it's through tiny, tiny steps, you know? Like, it's through small steps that add up to a big result.
yeah. And there's always like, how do you make your money? And I was like explaining all the different ways that I have it diversified to like make the money. And, I do these restocks, or I do the consignment and the wholesale and the shows, and, you know, the teaching or whatever. And it's like, would I tell other people they need to do like, no, you don't need to do all that, but you need to start
Yeah.
somewhere, and you need to like get some experience somewhere, and don't necessarily give up as quickly, if unless you like know that it's like not in
Yeah.
you to do something, that you're like, okay, this is not going to work for the long term. I don't really
Yeah.
have an interest in this, or, you know, I don't I don't know. I think you need to get some discipline of like doing it and like analyzing how it went, and like tweaking something and trying it
I
again.
think that the thing that both of us have that you have to have in this line of work is that we are both able to grind if we need to. Like, we can fucking grind it out if we need to, you know? And that's needed. It's just needed.
Yeah. I wouldn't say, I don't know, like there's some talk about like grind culture or something. Like, I don't feel like I push that. I feel like I just try to document myself. I'm not doing it to show people, but I'm showing people to like say, this is what I
Yeah,
put
yeah.
into it, and these are the results I get, and this is possible for other
Yeah, but
people
I mean,
too.
like, some people can't do that.
Me.
You know, like, they
Yeah,
can't do
yeah,
that. And they can't, like, throw 100 pots an hour like me, you know? Like, it's, or however many, whatever. But, you know, like, we both have abilities that we've worked really hard at to get. And, and some people aren't willing to work as hard as we have to get there, you know? Like, I'm not willing to
yes.
work as hard as I have to get where I need to be now. I'm not doing it. I'm like, no.
Reword what you just said. What did you just say? Can you repeat
I'm not willing
that?
to work as hard now as I used to.
Okay, as you used to.
And I'm just not. Sorry, not my cow.
Because of the results you get in the end are not worth it.
I'd rather live a mediocre life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 12. I've got
It
to
is 12.
think about all the things I have to take tomorrow to Memphis.
Oh, I did want to mention, I was counting up the number of questions, listener
yes.
questions that we answered. Okay, this does not include Q&A episodes, in which I believe we've had 7 of them. Check out the Q&A episodes.
Great.
They're apparently some of Becca's favorite works to date. Episode 155 was the last one that we did. It was, part 7. Each of those we probably answered 25 questions, 25 questions. Something like that. Do you want to guess how many questions we've answered?
Can you give me like a ballpark? Oh, fuck.
No. I mean, you've seen the note. You scrolled through the note.
I want to say...
We literally have one note that has all of the questions we've ever answered. And upcoming questions. They're all at the top, and then we categorize them, and then we just put them
I'm
at the
going to
bottom.
say 300.
No.
Damn
You
it.
overshot, Becca. 211.
Ooh, nice. That's a lot of questions.
I'm sure there's a lot of
Yes,
overlap in there. And I'm sure half of them are probably from about 8 people, but...
Yeah.
I was going to say like
From
4,
our
but...
MVLs, most valuable listeners.
Most valuable listeners. Yes.
Sweet.
211.
Well, look at us.
I feel, and the thing is, you all listening and you all asking us questions, like that is honestly a lot of the content that we get for the
So please don't stop.
podcast. So don't stop asking us questions, as well as like you all are a big part of. I don't know, like Becca was saying, like we don't do it for you, but like the questions do give us kind of fuel
For sure.
to spark conversation. So I would say we can't do it without you, because the questions
Agreed.
are a big part of it. So
We don't do it for you,
in
but
that
we can't do
aspect-
it without you.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, let's
Yeah.
leave it at there.
All right. Cool.
All right, thanks everybody
Thanks.
for listening. Happy 3 years,
Happy
Becca.
3 years, Ryan. All right.
All right, let's get ready for pot swap.
Yay. Bye.
All right, bye.
Yo, yiggity yo. It's Becca here.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, thank you for listening. And also, we have... What do we have again? A Patreon. We have a Patreon that you should go, and if you want to donate to, you could donate to it. If you don't, that's cool too. But just Google Wheel Talk Podcast Patreon. Don't do the other one, because there is a Wheel Talk on Patreon, but it's not us. So make sure you get the right one. It's in the show notes. And also, leave us a review, because they're fun to read. Okay, bye!